Now at 6, breaking news, no proof of collusion and no plans to prosecute. The findings of special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia probe.
Plus, new fallout in the college admissions scandal. Who will face a judge tomorrow in Boston federal court?
And a crippled cruise ship returning to port after harrowing helicopter rescues the New England passengers on board. NBC 10 Boston Weekend Tonight starts now.
We want to get right to some breaking news right off the top. Rob Gronkowski has announced on Instagram that he is retiring. His post starting with, it all started at 20 years old on stage at the NFL draft where my dream came true. And now here I am about to turn 30 in a few months with a decision I feel is the biggest of my life so far. I will be retiring from the game of football today. He went on to say, I will truly miss you guys. Cheers to all who have been part of this journey. Cheers to the past for the incredible memories, and a huge cheers to the uncertain of what's next. So Rob Gronkowski, a lot of people have been wondering what was going to happen, and we just heard just a few minutes ago he has announced his retirement. Thanks for being with us. I'm Nick Emmons.
And I'm Audrey Asistio. Sports anchor Raul Martinez is in studio now with more. Raul.
Yeah, we knew this day would be coming, guys, and he's doing it on his own terms. Rob Gronkowski will go down as one of the greatest tight ends in history, is retiring from the game of football. He made the announcement, as you saw on Instagram, thanking Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and of course his teammates. Up until this moment, it was still up in the air if he'd come back to the Patriots for his 10th season, but Gronk said it's time to move forward. Drafted in 2010 as a second-round pick, Gronk won 3 Super Bowls with New England. He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro, fan favorite as well. The 29-year-old has 79 touchdowns, most ever in Patriots history, and he caps his career off with a Super Bowl title in Atlanta over the Rams. It's pretty obvious injuries came into play in this decision. Gronk flirted with retirement before the 2018 season, struggled to stay healthy last season. He's had numerous surgeries, including multiple on the back and serious forearm surgery as well. Gronk calls this the biggest decision in his life so far, and now we wait to see what his next move will be. There's been talk of acting and, of course, wrestling, but as of right now, he's retiring after an impressive career with the Patriots. We'll have much more a little later in sports. For now, we're live in studio. Raul Martinez, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, Raul. Also breaking now at 6, Attorney General William Barr released his summary of the Mueller investigation into President Trump. The American public has been waiting for nearly 2 years to find out if there was collusion with Russia in the 2016 election. And according to the AG's summary, the answer is no.
The president spoke to reporters not long after the AG summary was released, calling the entire investigation ridiculous.
It was just announced there was no collusion with Russia, the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. There was no collusion with Russia.
The president also tweeted tonight, complete and total exoneration. But that's not entirely accurate. Attorney General William Barr says special counsel Robert Mueller did not find sufficient evidence to prosecute for collusion. But on the issue of obstruction of justice, well, that may still be up in the air.
Yeah, more debate on that. Barr's summary of the 22-month report was broken down into just a few paragraphs, and NBC's Jennifer Johnson has the very latest from Washington.
President Trump declaring victory.
It was a complete and total exoneration. It's a shame that our country had to go through this. To be honest, it's a shame that your president has had to go through this.
After a weekend review, Attorney General William Barr released a 4-page summary of special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Mueller didn't draw a conclusion one way or another on whether the president obstructed justice. But Barr says the Mueller report concludes the investigation did not establish that members of the Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in its election interference activities. But Republicans say that won't stop Democrats from trying to bring down the president.
They thought this report was going to show something they could impeach the president on. That is not seemingly going to happen. Now they have to figure out some way around that.
Democrats have launched several investigations. There are also other ongoing state and federal probes into Russia meddling in the 2016 election and possible campaign finance violations that may involve the president and his family members.
The special counsel is not bringing criminal indictments for collusion. There are other investigations going on in which he's farmed out to the Southern District of New York, the Eastern District of Virginia, and they may or may not.
Democrats are calling calling for full disclosure of Mueller's report, vowing to use subpoena powers if necessary.
And now one of President Trump's lawyers says the White House will not ask for a copy of Mueller's full report. Jennifer Johnson, NBC News, Washington.
So nearly 2 years and 34 indictments later, this Russia probe has been an incredibly divisive issue.
And now reaction is pouring in from both sides of the aisle. Our Mike Manzoni is at the live desk tonight with a look. Mike, what are they saying?
Audrey, we're hearing from several local lawmakers who reacted on Twitter to the Mueller report's key findings. Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeted, Congress voted 420 to 0 to release the full Mueller report, not a summary from his hand-picked Attorney General. AG Barr, make the full report public immediately. Then Representative Joe Kennedy III posting, every American deserves to know how our country was attacked and how our leaders responded. Only then can we restore our collective confidence in our system. Former Massachusetts governor and current Republican Utah Senator Mitt Romney wrote in part, it is good news that the special counsel has concluded that neither the president nor his campaign colluded with the Russian government. It is now time for our country to move forward. And finally, Vermont Senator and presidential hopeful Bernie Sanders posting this strongly worded statement saying, I don't want a summary of the report. I want the whole damn report. And there are a lot of tweets like that about Mueller report's key findings coming in right now. We will continue to sort through all of them and monitor social media for all the latest reaction. For now, in the newsroom, Mike Manzoni, NBC 10 Boston.
And of course, there is a lot to go through with this and still more to come. So for a full look back on this case and what is ahead, turn to our free mobile news app. We also have William Barr's letter to Congress on our website right now, so you can read it for yourself. Just head to NBC10Boston.com.
Also breaking now at 6, just days after a Parkland shooting survivor took her own life, a second survivor has died in what police are calling an apparent suicide. Coral Springs police have not released the student's identity. News of the teen's death comes just a few days after 19-year-old Sydney Alo was laid to rest. She graduated from Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School last year and died by suicide last weekend. Reaction to the latest tragedy has been pouring in from other Parkland survivors. David Hogg tweeting, how many more kids have to be taken from us as a result of suicide for the government, school district to do anything? And Hillary Clinton saying nothing is worth the tremendous costs our young people bear because of our inaction on guns. Now, if you are in crisis, you are urged to call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-TALK. Again, that is 800-273-TALK.
Well, we turn our attention now to your first alert weather, and today signs of spring out there. A great day to be outside. If you had a chance to walk around or maybe be on the water, you could see the sun shining down at Dorchester Bay.
I'm not going to lie, when I finally stepped outside, I really didn't want to go to work because that's where I was heading. It just felt so good out there, Chris. Of course, you've been keeping a close eye on the forecast. How's it looking? Will we get more of this?
Audrey, Nick, we have to wait a few more days. A slight setback over the next few, and then we're back into the upper 50s and 60s, in fact. Came so close in Boston and in Norwood. 59, though, the official high. 58 in Bedford, Taunton. The Outer Cape a little bit cooler. Again, the ocean waters are still into the 30s and 40s. Live look outside, 57 degrees with a west-northwest wind at 17. Now that the clouds have set in, that 57 does feel a little bit chilly. We go from 51 down to 43 tonight. Rather mild because of the clouds. As I mentioned, a cool couple of days before we see a big-time warm-up. The days will be in the 60s coming up in your exclusive First Alert 10-day forecast.
Well, now to the latest in the college admissions cheating scandal. Tomorrow is shaping up to be the biggest day in court since those charges were first announced, with several coaches due in a Boston federal courtroom. Our Perry Russum live outside Moakley Courthouse in Southie with more on what we can expect from this. Perry.
Nick, it will be a busy day tomorrow. We are scheduled to see 12 defendants who allegedly played a role in this scandal. For nearly 2 weeks, Moakley Federal Courthouse has been at the epicenter of the college admissions scandal.
We have no comment.
With defendants and their lawyers slowly processing out after being in front of a judge.
No comment.
Monday will be the busiest day yet, as 12 people are scheduled to be arraigned. Those include college coaches and administrators, as well as members of the fake nonprofit used to allegedly cover up the crime. The man behind the scandal is William Singer. He was allegedly paid $25 million from about 800 families over the course of years. In exchange, Singer would promise admission into some of the country's top universities. That will be done by falsifying scores on college entrance exams or creating fake athletic profiles to get the applicants in as student athletes. Included in tomorrow's arraignments is Igor Dvorsky. He was the director of a prep school in Los Angeles where students allegedly had their test scores changed. According to court documents, Dvorsky was typically paid $10,000 per student. He would allegedly allow another man to take the test in the student's place or change their answers with his own. And after tomorrow, there are two major court dates, including April 3rd, when actresses Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin are scheduled to be here. Live outside the federal courthouse, Perry Russum, NBC 10 Boston.
Perry, thanks so much. The man accused of filming boys inside a Boston Latin school bathroom has been detained pending the outcome of his trial. 36-year-old Eric Tran Tai is charged with secretly videotaping students at BLS while they use the restroom. A judge wrote in an order issued yesterday that Tai is a flight risk and danger to the community if he is released.
Tonight, water pressure is back to normal at Tufts Medical Center following a water main break. It happened on Harvard Street. Parts of Tufts Medical Center, we understand, were also impacted earlier this morning. As of right now, there's no word on what caused that break. Well, two people are recovering tonight after a head-on crash on Southbridge Road in Dudley. The two cars were badly damaged in that crash this morning. You could see some of these photos from Dudley police. We're told the two drivers were seriously injured. The cause of the crash is under investigation.
Now to the latest on that dangerous rescue out of Norway. A mix of rough waters and engine problems left everyone on board a cruise ship stranded at sea. Passengers had to be airlifted to safety. The Norwegian cruise ship now back at port. You see right there, some of the passengers on board are from our area. Our Cassie Arsenault is in studio now. And Cassie, they must be breathing a sigh of relief tonight. Such a scary situation to go through.
Absolutely, Audrey. The cruise stranded last night has reached Norway's western coast after lifting more than 400 passengers to safety. And authorities say after a terrifying 24 hours, all passengers and crew are finally safe. Viking Sky issued a mayday Saturday after engine troubles had them stranded with rough waters and high winds off of Norway's western coast. Twitter videos from passengers show furniture rocking from side to side, nearly knocking people over, and one window busting open, leaking water inside the ship. We talked to two ladies, one from Rye, New Hampshire, the other from Boston, who were on the ship throughout the storm right after the window burst open.
When the window broke, people broke legs, people broke wrists, and I don't even know if everyone is accounted for. I'm assuming they are, praying that they are, but we don't know. It was really bad.
Authorities say the weather and sea conditions prevented rescue workers from using lifeboats and other vessels to evacuate the ship. Instead, 5 helicopters shuttled passengers to safety, one by one on a wire. Viking Ocean Cruises said 20 people were injured. Pictures made their way to social media showing 900 passengers in life jackets scattered about the ship trying to get rest.
We're scared as hell, I can tell you that.
But by Sunday, the ship had 3 of its 4 engines working, and as bad weather subsided, it allowed the ship to reach safety on its own, reaching port slowly, where people gathered to welcome the passengers back to shore.
Now, keep in mind, incidents like this are fairly rare. A 2017 report from New Zealand government found that globally only roughly 2 cruise ships a year run aground. Also, the cruise line's next sail was set for March 27th, but that has been canceled. Live in the studio, Cassie Arsenault, NBC 10 Boston.
Wow, Cassie, thank you. We'll be right back right after the break. Well, big day of breaking news today, both in Washington and in New England. Rob Gronkowski announcing he is retiring from the NFL. He made that announcement on Instagram less than an hour ago, just before 6 o'clock tonight. He shared a photo and a message to Pats Nation, thanking teammates, Coach Belichick and Robert Kraft. After what many people expect, he is going to be a Hall of Famer. Fans are also thanking Gronk for his hard work, some of his antics, and of course all of his Gronk spikes. Raul Martinez will have much more on this in just a bit.
On to Decision 2020. New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand officially launched her presidential campaign today with a speech outside Trump Tower. Gillibrand didn't shy away from attacking the president, calling Trump Tower, quote, a shrine to greed, division, and vanity. She accused President Trump of demonizing the vulnerable and dividing the country.
He puts his name on bold on every building. He does this because he wants you to believe he is strong. He is not. Our president is a coward.
She also called for making health care a right and ensuring universal pre-K for all kids. And Senator Elizabeth Warren talking gun control as she made an appearance in Conway, New Hampshire. Warren says the NRA is, quote, holding Congress hostage when it comes to doing anything about gun violence. Warren says Washington isn't working for the people because an overwhelming amount of Americans favor gun safety regulations.
And now to your first alert weather. What a day it was to get outside. Really felt like spring in the air. I got to say, I went for a run training for the marathon. Perfect day for a run in the city. Chris, hopefully the marathon weather will be like it was today. Fingers crossed on that front.
You know, and you don't want it too warm, though. And we're kind of teetering between, you know, the last several years, which are kind of raw, miserable, rainy days, and a pretty big warm up. And I think we could come very close to seeing a warm stretch of air right around the marathon. When you look at long-term patterns, that's the way it's looking now. 57. We dropped down to 40 tonight, which is actually very close to our average daytime high. However, there's a cold front that moves through tonight, so we struggle to get out of the 40s. We may touch 50 degrees, but again, a lot of this may be overdone, this temperature drop, especially if you have cloudy skies. 45 tomorrow. I wouldn't be surprised if we came a little bit closer to 50 degrees, especially with that late March sun. There isn't snow on the ground, so all of the sun's energy goes into warming us up. It's not, you know, absorbed by the trees. It's not absorbed by the snow. So again, we could be 5 degrees warmer than the numbers you see on the map. High pressure keeps things quiet during the day on Monday, again on Tuesday and Wednesday. As this high slides south and east from Hudson Bay to over New England during the day on Wednesday, we have a cold flow draining down from the north. So that means temperatures are seasonably chilly into the 40s. By Wednesday, that high will anchor itself over western New England, and with the high in close proximity, we have very little wind, sinking air, bright blue skies, but it is a little bit chilly, and then we start to see a significant improvement with our temperatures. Look at this rain map. This is through Friday evening. A couple 1/100ths of an inch, that's it. This is one of the driest stretches we've seen in a while. Let's talk about the big warm-up. Wednesday starts off chilly. The day moderates to the upper 40s to around 50 degrees. By Friday, everyone shaded in yellow is at or above 60 degrees. But check this out. During the day on Saturday, you see the yellow, you see the pocket of orange up near Route 2, 128, Merrimack Valley, southern New Hampshire. Wouldn't be surprised, we're being a little bit conservative now, wouldn't be surprised if you were in the low 70s by Saturday. So it is a big warm-up. And once that warm air kind of releases its grip, we fall back into the 50s, which is still, Audrey, Nick, above average for this time of year.
I like it.
Felt nice. No complaints from either of us. All right, sports coming up. Obviously, a lot of big news coming down just about a half hour ago.
Rob Gronkowski retiring from the NFL, Raul.
Yeah, huge news, guys. One of the greatest at his position, one of the colorful personalities in the NFL, calling it a career. Gronk is moving on. We'll have more on his decision coming up and what it means for the Patriots moving forward. Sports is next.
Yes, no, maybe so.
Are you going to retire after this year?
Yes, no, maybe so.
The answer is officially yes. Breaking news this evening, Rob Gronkowski officially retiring from the game of football. The 29-year-old announcing it on Instagram, saying it's time to move on. Gronk was an all-time favorite, not just with Patriots Nation, but in all of football. Yes, he was a character, and he was a character, but his play on the field is where he stood out the most. He played 9 seasons in New England, where he transcended the tight end position. He called Patriots owner Robert Kraft today to let him know the decision. A second-round pick in 2010, the big man scored 79 career touchdowns, a 3-time Super Bowl champ. Gronk did struggle with injuries all the way up until his final game. That was clearly a big reason for this move. He had multiple surgeries on his back. He also had that forearm surgery that had him thinking about retirement before the 2018 season. Here's Gronk's Instagram post saying it all started at 20 years old on stage at the NFL draft when my dream came true, and now here I am about to turn 30 in a few months with a decision I feel is the biggest of my life so far. I will be retiring from the game of football today. He also thanked Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick and current and past teammates. He called his life experiences amazing. He also thanked all of Patriots Nation. Gronk finished with, quote, huge cheers to the uncertain of what's next. Gronk will retire with the most touchdown receptions in Patriots history with 79. He had 5 seasons with double-digit touchdown catches. He was amazing. He'll finish with 12 more touchdown receptions than wide receiver Stanley Morgan and 29 more than both Ben Coates and Randy Moss. Brady left a response on Gronk's Instagram page saying, "Love you, man. The GOAT. Couldn't be a better person or teammate." Unbelievable to hear that news. It was expected either now or sometime in the near future, but now officially Rob Gronkowski is retired. All right, moving on to the Celtics. 9 more games to go in the regular season for the C's. They return home to take on a Spurs team that's lost 2 and is fighting for a position in the West. Aaron Baines and Gordon Hayward are available to return from their injuries, but Jason Tatum could miss at least the next 2 games with a back injury. Robert Williams and Al Horford also out tonight. But the Celtics have added depth to the roster, making it official today before the game. The team signing center Greg Monroe to a 10-day contract. The 28-year-old played in Boston last season when they signed him in February, where he scored 10 points, 6 boards in 26 games. He was recently with Toronto.
It was great to see him again, and obviously with our injuries we need bodies, and we need bodies at that position. So the timing is good.
Do you think he'll play tonight?
He could. Yeah. He could play tonight. I mean, having no Al and no Robert Williams against LaMarcus Aldridge is quite a challenge.
All right, how about some March Madness? Round 2 finishing up today, and it started with a crazy one between 10-seed Iowa and number 2 Tennessee. Hawkeyes trailing by as many as 25. Under a minute left. Isaiah Moss's jumper cuts it to 2. 2 free throws later, it goes to OT. In OT, Vols hold on. Jordan Bone from deep. Tennessee moves on to the Sweet 16, winning 83-77. North Carolina also a winner. It's been a good week for Zdeno Chara. The Bruins' big defenseman turned 42 on Monday. He signed a 1-year, $2 million contract extension yesterday. Hours later, he scored his 200th goal of his career. Team also clinching a playoff spot. He posted this on Instagram, honoring his father, who played a huge role in reaching number 200. He said he was tough on him, but grateful because the hard work paid off. And Dad has been bugging Big Z about getting to 200. So this was for Dad. We recommend you join us right here on NBC 10 Boston for Sports Live. That's at 11:20 after our 11 p.m. newscast. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the big news. Rob Gronkowski officially retiring from the game of football. So we'll have plenty of that. And the Red Sox, of course, put Sandy Leon on waivers. We'll have much more on the Red Sox as well. But Gronk retires, people. We'll be right back.
So back to that breaking Patriots news. Rob Gronkowski hanging up his cleats on Instagram, making the announcement less than an hour ago, sharing a photo and a message to Pats Nation, thanking teammates, his coaches, and Robert Kraft. And many people believe he's going to be a Hall of Famer, of course, and fans thanking Gronk now for his hard work, his teammates as well, sharing some pictures of their time with Gronk. A likable guy. Everyone liked him, but there was a lot of people wondering what was going to happen after the Super Bowl this past year. Now we know.
So now, Raul, a lot of people are wondering at this point, what's going to happen the next season?
First of all, first ballot Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time. There's no question. It's going to be tough for the Patriots to replace a guy like Gronk. He was on struggling minutes last season. They've won without him. They lost out on a tight end in free agency. That's going to be their focus in the draft, I think. But they got Tom Brady. They got Bill Belichick. I think they'll be just fine.
Some good tight ends in the draft,
but Gronk, man, going to miss the guy so much.
All of his things. All right, well, that's all the time we have for you tonight at 6. I'm Nick Emmons with Chris Cloninger and Raul Martinez.
And I'm Audrey Assistio. Nightly News is next.